Today, I'm going to teach you how to make 3 easy hair conditioners that are great for fine hair, using a super popular conditioning ingredient you probably recognize from ingredient lists, but might not have formulated with yet. Before we start making, you've got to understand what makes hair conditioners special. Rinse-out conditioners are creamy, lotion-like products that we apply to our hair for a few minutes after shampooing and then rinse out. They leave our hair smooth, slippery, and easy to comb through, which helps reduce breakage, improving hair health. As much as they look like a lotion, they aren't just lotion for hair though. Conditioners can be very simple or more complex, but they've got to have one specific type of ingredient in order to have that slippy, smoothing magic. At least one cationic or positively charged ingredient. Our hair and skin are negatively charged, and since opposites attract, formulations that contain positively charged ingredients add a beautiful but just really hard to describe feeling to our skin and hair. If you think about your hair before and after you apply conditioner in the shower, that really slippy, rich, smooth feeling is thanks to the cationic ingredients in your hair conditioner. Now that you know why we need some cationicness, let me introduce you to today's cationic star. The INCI for this ingredient is cetyl alcohol and stearamidopropyl dimethylamine lactate. But that's quite the mouthful, so I will call it bioconditioner for the rest of the video. Even though the INCI only has 2 things in it, bioconditioner is actually a mix of 3 ingredients. The unique, lovely for hair ingredient in bioconditioner is stearamidopropyl dimethylamine lactate. So let's break that down. This is stearamidopropyl dimethylamine, and it's a really common ingredient in hair conditioners, hair masks, cleansing conditioners, and conditioning shampoos. I'm going to call it SD from now on. It is prized for conditioning without weighing the hair down, which is why you'll find it in lots of products designed for fine hair, rather than richer benthromonium methosulfate and benthromonium chloride. As lovely as SD is, it is also a bit trickier to work with than those more common conditioning ingredients, and that is where bioconditioner comes in. You can think of it as easy to use stearamidopropyl dimethylamine. On its own, SD needs to be neutralized with an acid in order to condition and emulsify, but bioconditioner has done this for us. That's why it's stearamidopropyl dimethylamine lactate. The lactate part tells us that this is stearamidopropyl dimethylamine that's been neutralized with lactic acid, and that's our second component ingredient. The third makes things even easier. The pre-neutralized SD is blended with cetyl alcohol, a fatty thickener and emollient that boosts viscosity, stabilizes emulsions, and moisturizes the hair. It's a really common ingredient in all kinds of hair care and skincare formulations, and it's also found in many other emulsifiers. A quick tip for working with bioconditioner, making it easier, faster, and even more foolproof, I recommend quickly grinding it up in your DIY-only coffee grinder. I really like to freeze it first so the heat from the friction of the grinder doesn't kind of fuse it into a sticky mass. I will never work with this ingredient without grinding it up first. You can learn lots more about bioconditioner in the free Humblebee and Me DIY encyclopedia entry I wrote all about it. It is positively packed with great information. Unfortunately, bioconditioner is not very widely available, so as of summer 2025, the only place that I've found it for sale to home crafters is Yellowbee in Canada. But hopefully more places will start to carry it soon. If you would like a local supplier to start selling it, consider sending them this video so that they can see how awesome it is. If you don't have bioconditioner, you can use BTMS 25 or BTMS 50 in these formulations, but they won't be quite as well suited to fine hair and will just be different. Now that we have met our star, let's make our first conditioner. This one is really simple with just 4 ingredients, and the process is super easy too. We're going to make 100 gram or roughly 3.5 ounces of each formula, which should be enough for at least a couple uses of each, depending on how much hair you have, of course. You can definitely make larger batches, but I really do recommend sticking with this batch size to start and then scaling up your favorite formulation after you've tried them all. Weigh out 6 grams bioconditioner. If you're going to make all 3 formulations at once, weigh out 6 grams 3 times, as you'll need the same amount for each conditioner. For just a touch of richness, 2 grams medium chain triglycerides. You can swap the MCT for a different liquid oil if you'd like. Please read the free partner blog post for more details. Weigh 91.5 grams distilled water into a heat-resistant glass measuring cup or a beaker that's large enough for the head of your immersion blender. My water is already hot because I'm going to make all 3 formulations in a row for this video, and using hot water really speeds things up, but you can definitely use room temperature water instead. Add the bio conditioner and MCT right to the water. We are doing a 1-pot emulsion. Weigh your beaker and write that weight down for later. This is so we can replace the water that'll evaporate during heating. Cover and heat. I'm using my lab hot plate set to a level I know will heat this to about 70 degrees Celsius, but you can also use a water bath on your stovetop. As it heats, give it a stir and check in on it. We need to make sure all of the little bits of bio conditioner have fully dissolved. This will happen in about 20 to 30 minutes if you've pre-ground yours, and then will obviously take longer if you didn't. Once you're 100% certain you can't see any blobs of bio conditioner and there's lots of condensation on the lid, it's done heating. Remove your beaker from the heat, weigh it, and then add a couple drops of distilled water to bring that weight back up to the number we wrote down earlier. Grab your immersion blender, blend for about 30 seconds, and then switch to hand stirring. Stir the conditioner diligently as it cools and thickens to prevent clumps and separation. Once it has noticeably thickened, you can set it aside and weigh out the cool down phase. For this formulation, that's just half a gram of liquid Germall Plus, our preservative. If you'd like to use a different preservative, please read the free partner blog post. I've discussed that more there. Pour some of the conditioner into the dish with the preservative, stir to combine, and then scrape that mixture back into the parent batch and then stir everything together. Package the conditioner in some sort of bottle or tube that won't allow a bunch of water to get into the conditioner when you use it in the shower. I'm using a 120 milliliter or 4 fluid ounce plastic tottle from Voyageur Soap and Candle. Right now the conditioner is thin enough to pour straight in without a funnel, but don't worry, it will thicken up in a couple days. See? And that's it! Conditioner number 1 is all done, and we are ready to make number 2. Our second formulation is a wee bit richer and adds 2 new ingredients, but the making process is exactly the same. Just like last time, you'll need 6 grams bio conditioner. The extra richness comes from a wee bit more medium chain triglycerides. Weigh out 6 grams. And for some added moisturizing, shine boosting goodness, you'll need half a gram of panthenol, also known as vitamin B5. Weigh 86.8 grams distilled water into another beaker that you can blend in, add the first 3 ingredients, weigh, cover, and heat. You'll notice this formulation contains less water than the first one, and that's to make room for our new ingredients. For all of these conditioners, if you don't want to use the extra ingredients I'm adding, you can undo those additions by replacing them with distilled water. Once everything is nice and hot and there are no blobs of bio conditioner to be seen, remove your beaker from the heat, replace any lost water, blend briefly, and hand stir until it has cooled down and noticeably thickened. The cool down phase for this formulation adds 1 more ingredient. Once again, you'll need half a gram of liquid Germall Plus. And for a little bit of something that smells lovely, 0.2 grams of a fragrance or essential oil of choice. Just be sure whatever you use is safe at 0.2% in rinse off hair formulations, which is IFRA category 7A. Combine and package it up. Just like our first formulation, this one will thicken up a bit over the next couple days. But if you'd like any of them to be thicker, there's 2 easy ways to do that. The simplest way is to just use more bio conditioner, increasing it from 6%, as we're doing here, to 8%, and then reducing water to make room, will both thicken and boost conditioning power. If you happen to have cetyl alcohol or cetyl alcohol, those are also great options. 1 to 3% will make a big difference in how thick your conditioner is. In these formulations, you can trade out some of the MCT or some of the water to make room, depending on if you're okay with adding a little bit more richness to the conditioner or not. And that's it for number 2. let's move on to our third and final formulation. The third conditioner is the richest and creamiest of the bunch, and also adds another good for hair ingredient to really boost performance. Once again, you'll need 6 grams bioconditioner and half a gram of panthenol. The richness in this formulation comes from a blend of 10 grams medium chain triglycerides and 2 grams shea butter. As with the other two formulations, you can use different liquid oils and/or a different butter if you want to. Combine those ingredients with 79.7 grams of distilled water in a beaker, weigh, cover, and heat. While that heats, let's chat quickly about pH. I made and tested dozens of simple formulations using bioconditioner to put this video together, and the pH of everything I made fell in the 4.2 to 5.4 range. When made as written, these 3 formulations fall in the 4.8 to 5.5 range. This default acidic pH is because of the stearomytopropyl dimethylamine lactate, or more specifically, the lactic acid part of it. The conditioning powers of stearomytopropyl dimethylamine are tied to the pH of the formulation. So if you raise the pH, it becomes less and less cationic. So it's normal for conditioners that rely on stearomytopropyl dimethylamine for conditioning to be fairly acidic. It's always a good idea to check the pH of your formulations if you have a pH meter, but if you don't have one yet and you make these formulations as written or relatively close to it, the pH should land in a good place automatically. Okay, let's get back to our conditioner. When your mixture is nice and toasty, take it off the heat, replace any lost water, briefly blend, and then hand stir until it has cooled down and is nice and creamy. You'll notice this one gets much thicker, much faster than the first two. Just like last time, you'll need half a gram of liquid Germall Plus and 0.2 grams of a fragrance or essential oil. You'll also need 0.1 grams vitamin E, aka tocopherol, which I've added because of the shea butter. You could absolutely include it in the other formulations as well, but I didn't because medium chain triglycerides is just such a stable ingredient, and I was trying to keep my ingredient lists as short as possible. And lastly, 1 gram hydrolyzed rice protein. My hair really loves protein. It helps structure my waves and reduce frizz. If you don't have hydrolyzed rice protein, there are quite a few other hydrolyzed proteins that could work instead. So please read the free partner blog post linked in the description box below for more info and some non-protein alternatives as well. Combine, mix, package it up, and you're all done. To use, work conditioner through your hair after shampooing. Let it sit for a minute or two and rinse it out. I like to comb my hair with conditioner in it and then squish to condish before rinsing. Reflect on how each one worked for you. Does your hair like the extra richness in formulation 2 or 3, or was it too much? Did you notice the protein or panthenol making a difference? I really encourage you to experiment with varying concentrations of bioconditioner, different oils and butters, and a variety of awesome for hair ingredients. Now, of course, before you can use these conditioners, you'll need some shampoo. So click here to learn how to make an awesome, bubbly, and just downright beautiful shampoo bar. Thanks for watching and happy making. Bye.